Welcome to Open to Work Stories, a podcast dedicated to job seekers just like you who are looking for a platform to showcase who they are, what they've done, and why recruiters and hiring managers should take a longer look at you. My name is Ryan Smith, and we have a fantastic show today. Our guest is Tasha Scalise. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Well, I am really, really excited after having spoken to you about your experience and what you're looking to do. I think this is the perfect time for you to share with our audience who you are. Give us your 2-minute pitch.
Awesome. My professional story began in the United States Air Force, serving on active duty. Didn't just teach me discipline, it shaped who I am, truly. I learned the leadership through action, structure, through necessity, and how to hold myself accountable in every aspect of my work. The Air Force also taught me one of the most important lessons I carry with me: never be afraid of failure, but just make sure you learn from it. So when I transitioned to civilian life, I followed a creative passion into cosmetics, starting with the makeup artistry and sales. But I quickly found my path, expanding into training and education and account management. I also have worked under the largest cosmetics umbrellas, including Estee Lauder and L'Oreal. And then I've also managed major retail accounts like Sephora, Ulta, Macy's, and Dillard's. So it was a high-pressure environment that demanded autonomy, consistency, and results across multiple states and store formats. But I did have to build trust quickly, which led from a distance, and constantly, juggle priorities. So just when I thought I had the rhythm down, the pandemic hit, and then the industry changed overnight. I was lucky to work for a company that was agile enough to pivot. So our in-person field team actually quickly transitioned into the digital commerce. So Salesforce, and of course I embraced the challenge. I learned the technical skills while doubling down on relationship building in a completely new environment, as we all did. But I didn't stop there. I'm just not the type of person that can sit still. And there's always an opportunity to grow. So while working full-time, I actually earned my MBA and became certified in project management, and also gained skills in Salesforce, HubSpot, and Google Ads. So I didn't just grow professionally, but I also built meaningful connections with my classmates from my MBA program, and then gained mentors, and then again, just built those relationships with my peers. So the pandemic really taught me that progress doesn't pause. It just changes direction. So after finishing my MBA, I pivoted again, this time back into the retail world. But with a startup mindset. I led a massive beauty space and salon overhaul inside a major retailer, managing 25 beauty spaces and 27 salons. So it gave me a crash course in productivity, metrics, cost controls, hiring strategy, and what it really takes to build something from the ground up while keeping the customer experience front and center. Truly. So today I'm looking for my next opportunity to apply what I've learned and keep growing. So while beauty has been my home, my skills are fully transferable. I'm open to new industries, new teams, new challenges, including a sell-in side of the account management. But what matters to me is really just working with people I trust and who trust me in return. So over the years, I've built a network that I've, truly relied on and who've relied on me. And in times of uncertainty, we lift each other up. That investment in people has always paid off. And it reminds me that my philosophy is working. So keep learning, keep moving, and always bring others with you. So I am open to work.
There you have it. Fantastic, fantastic job. And I think that that's a good place for us to move this conversation, is really talking about the fact that those skills that you've developed over those years are truly transferable across a multitude of industries. Retail is such a very large space in and of itself. So, I think that people who are listening shouldn't be like, oh, well, she's only had this experience perhaps in cosmetics, but this is the skills that you've brought to bear are useful across all of retail, and it's useful across technology. It's useful across manufacturing, healthcare. Talk a little bit about how those skills, can transfer to other industries.
Well, I think that the ability to be agile and always constantly learn. So I'm very big on how you can teach a a program. You can teach something. You can't teach a personality, right? You
Hmm.
have to have that desire to learn. You have to have that desire to grow and that eagerness and willingness to learn. So that's something I feel like when I was hiring, I'd always say, "Hey, I'm hiring the person. I can teach you those skills." So you can't always teach that enthusiasm and motivation.
Absolutely. And I think that that's one of the things, too, that I learned in my own experience is the fact that when it comes to the intangibles, it comes to a person who's a hard worker, who's always growing, who can manage multiple projects, who can build relations quickly. Those are intangible skills that's really difficult to say, can I find that on a resume?
True.
But you can teach technology, you can teach the industry. And so I would much rather have a person who brings a multitude of intangibles rather than a person who just brings all the experience. Yes, you need the experience, but like I said before, and like you said, technology or whatever can be taught.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about how you're continuing to grow, and what are some of the things that you're doing, you know, in the meantime. So one of the things that you talked about is your organizing business.
Yes, so I during the pandemic, obviously we all had lots of time on our hands. So I started to get creative, and I tend to be more of a minimalist when it comes to my lifestyle. And I think when you are in a home, it kind of reflects what's going on in your mind. So I like things to be very calm. I like things to be very organized. So I as a paid hobby, I enjoy organizing pantries and closets for people. And it's, just very eye opening as to how much clutter we truly keep in our homes. But I also, again, translate that into what's going on in your head. So if we can get that stillness and have things very organized, I think it keeps you stress free. I know that's how I like to work. So again, just a very structured person. Operationally, in my industry, that's very important. So I truly enjoy that. Again, it's just been a really fun hobby, and it's very eye opening to others.
Yeah, and that translated, of course, into the work that you were doing. So having this mentality of being a minimalist and bringing order out of chaos, you had projects where you were kind of dropped into the middle of chaos, and you had to bring order to that. Will you talk a little bit about an example where you did that?
Absolutely. So, I think when you manage multiple accounts, i.e., retail accounts, whatever the business is, you can pinpoint certain resources that one location may be lacking, whereas another location may have an abundance of. So, I really tried to be cost conscious for the company and put forth my time and effort into reallocating resources, whether it's supplies, things that may be another location didn't use at all. Like, let's not be wasteful, let's be resourceful. And then again, minimize the overhead and be cost conscious.
Excellent. Now, one of the things you talked about is, being willing to kind of put yourself outside of your comfort zone. And this is really where you and I met, because you and I met at the Comedy Arena
Yes.
doing improv. So, talk to us about your improv and your acting.
Absolutely. So I decided to take an improv course because working in a corporate environment, I always felt like I wanted to be able to give quick responses, but intelligent responses in conversations that I was having. And so taking improv courses, and I was able to, go through each level and then also just have fun with it. It helped me not have to be in awkward social settings. Also helped me with my public speaking, and it also helped with that small talk. So if you're just in an elevator with someone, and maybe you want to give them that 2-minute pitch, it opens up the door for you to where you aren't nervous or apprehensive to speak to someone. And I also think it builds your emotional intelligence, to be very functioning and kind of kind of open to others, so you're more approachable as well.
Absolutely. I mean, Tina Fey is famous for in her book, and then there's video of her talking about the yes and
Yes.
it's the acknowledgement and then adding to that makes improv so special. Another thing that we learn about in improv is how important it is to listen.
Yes.
And it's those skills that I think translate into the business world, in being able to not just improvise, but also to be able to receive what someone else is giving you, add to it, and listen to be able to make sure that you are all kind of in sync as you move along. How does this now translate into opportunities that you're seeing now?
Well, I will just give you an opportunity. I actually met someone and they actually were like, it's kind of, I feel like I'm talking to myself when having a conversation with you. And so it was really nice to hear that. That was a really great compliment. And they were just like, you were so easy to talk to and so disarming. So I think that when you bring a personality like that into any professional environment, it just kind of, it makes things a little bit more just easygoing. I tend to think of myself like that, as easygoing, but also again very structured when it comes to the professional environment. But also, I feel like from a work perspective, it opens the door for you not to be so rigid in your skill set.
That's fantastic. Now, are you seeing opportunities to maybe do training or hosting, because you have this very professional aura about you? Are you seeing like opportunities that people are recognizing that and giving you opportunities to stand on stage and do some things?
Absolutely, yes. So just recently I attended an LSU Alumni Association, Go Tigers,
Go Tigers.
event. And I think just my openness and willingness to talk to everyone and also make them laugh at the same time. They actually asked me to MC a future event when it comes to auctions and things like that. So that was a really nice, fun compliment. I just recently did my monologue for stage performance for acting. So again, gets you out of that comfort zone. That's a very uncomfortable situation, to be on a stage, perform a monologue, and have to remember lines, and everybody's watching you. So that again, putting yourself in uncomfortable situations to grow as a person, I think is very important, professionally. So.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of our show. Is there anything else that you'd like to say before we go?
Yes, so I think that I have adapted very transferable skills within the industries I have been in. So I went from military to makeup. So I think again, it just shows the agileness and the ability to pivot with whatever industry, and then again, the willingness to learn and desire new skills and constantly grow. That's my mission in life, is to be a student of life and constantly learn new things, be open to opportunities, and just absolutely grow professionally.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the show. And that's it for Open to Work Stories. You have now met Tasha Scalise. She's a veteran. She's a LSU Tiger. She's a manager. She's a presenter. She's a student. She is an organizer, a connector, a manager, and most of all, she's open to work. We'll see you next time on another episode of Open to Work Stories.